Alright, this time we're in northwestern Minnesota, and I got my waders on. We're gonna get out in the muck and see if we can't gather up some Marsh Marigold or Cowslip greens. Get a couple of jars of those made. Let's do it. Here we got a good patch of Cowslip, Marsh Marigold. I don't know why they're called, or why they were named Marsh Marigold or Cowslip. They're not related to either plant. They're not a marigold, they're not cowslip. They're actually, basically a good name for them would be swamp buttercup, really. But this is what we're looking for. These greens like this, fresh, newly unfurled. Now raw, these are not safe to eat. I guess they have a, I don't know how you say it, glycoside in the leaf, raw. And from what I understand, if you attempt to eat them raw, your mouth will blister. But give them a water change, boiling water change or 3. Usually 2-3 will do the job. I'll show you that later, how to know when it's ready to test for taste. They're actually really one of my favorite greens. They're kind of acrid, like they would remind you, I guess, of a very strong mustard green. Try to avoid the one with the bird poop on it. But I'm just gonna go around and gather as much of this as I can. It's a little late in the season to be doing this, I guess. Probably should have done it a couple weeks ago, but I wasn't up here a couple weeks ago, so doing it now. You don't want to do it in like late summer or anything, but it's early enough yet that they'll be good to eat. Good to can up. Same thing as I always do. Fill as many jars as I can with the greens, wilted down, and pressure can them. 10 pounds of pressure for about an hour, 15 minutes. But that's what they look like out here, out in the muck. So we're out here gathering Marsh Marigold greens, and stumbled upon an area where there's a lot of ostrich ferns. Pretty well grown already, but if you look down here, there's still a fiddlehead or 2 on each plant, and that's good eating. Steam them and eat them like asparagus. They're actually, I think they're better than asparagus actually. They got a nice natural peppery flavor to them. So, you know, when your knowledge of wild edibles is fairly strong, you just never know what you're going to run across walking around out in the woods looking for yummies. Here's my meager amount of cowslip greens. Not a whole lot, but when they're wilted down, it should still fill up a pint jar, I would say. But if it doesn't completely fill it up, no big deal. I usually just have cowslip greens as a side dish anyway. But I've got some water going over here, close to boil. Then I got another pot over here heating up of water. But going to give these cowslip greens a couple boiling water changes. We've got the colander over there waiting to drain them after the first boil. Alright, I got one of my waters to come to a boil, and I'm gonna carefully pour this over the cowslip greens. Just enough water to bring them to a first boil. And return this to a boil. Put a little more water in there. That'll work. Keep that hot. Once that comes to a boil, I'll drain it. Okay, so now that's come to a boil. I'm gonna take it and drain it, and I'm gonna make note of, take a look at the water that comes through when I drain this. See how dark that is? What that basically is that's that glycoside that I was talking about that makes it harmful to eat raw. So now I'm gonna put this back in the pot, and then we're gonna turn it to the stove and put some more boiling water on it. Sure all the greens are submerged. Bring that back to a boil, and we'll drain it again. Okay, it's come to its second boil, so we'll drain it again. And this time you'll see the water that comes through the colander is going to be significantly darker, or less dark I should say, and more of a green herbaceous color like you'd expect out of cooked greens. I'm going to give that a taste already. Sometimes, I mean, you don't want to do this procedure any more than you have to, but you don't want to taste them after just one boil either. You could still blister your inside of your mouth. But let's see here, get a little bit, we'll taste. It's pretty acrid, but once they're canned, and then when I open up a jar and drain it, that's going to be just right. You always want your greens to be a little stronger than you like before, ones that you're going to can, because the canning process is going to take that last bit of aggressive acridness, if that's a word, out of the greens. So actually one boiling water change is really all I needed out of that. Got one of my canning jars out here, and we're going to these cowslip greens in there. Didn't maybe about a half a jar, but that doesn't matter really. Better than nothing. Get some canning salt here. About a half a teaspoon of canning salt. That's about it, right? Then I'll top that off with boiling water. There, that'll be good. Right now I just have a temporary lid and screw band. I'm going to put this in the cooler, and then when I get home I'll can it. I got some other stuff to can, and I'll be gathering some wood nettle when I get home. That way I have, you know, fairly full canner load. Let that cool down to room temperature, and I'll put it in the cooler. But it's a pretty jar of cowslip greens.